The 2023 Baltimore Ravens season has been nothing short of remarkable, with a top AFC winning record of 13-4 and 13-3 with Lamar Jackson starting, clinching the top AFC seed, granting them a bye week for the playoffs, and Lamar Jackson being a frontrunner for MVP. This season felt reminiscent to the 2019 season to many people. But we all remember how Baltimore's 2019 season ended. I know, I'm sorry to reopen past wounds. I still remember where I was when I watched that divisional round against the Titans, where the Ravens lost 28-12 on their own field. This devastating loss still ate at fans' hearts, and some fans, not including myself, were nervous about history repeating itself this year. However, the Ravens dominated in the divisional round against the Houston Texans, 34-10, with 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns by Lamar Jackson, and the defense holding the Texans' offense to only 3 points. If it wasn't already obvious before, the Ravens have proven that they are not the same team from the dominant 2019 regular season. However, it's not just a fluke or rewriting history. There's many factors outside of just the players that make the 2023 Ravens dominant Super Bowl contenders over the 2019 team. In this video, we'll be uncovering the large upgrades and improvements that gave Lamar Jackson and the Ravens a true fighting chance at claiming the Lombardi Trophy. And for those of you who still want to say, duh, it's obvious, just hush up and enjoy the video. This is simply a look into what makes the team so much greater than 2019. Before getting into this video, I want to thank all my new and returning subscribers for getting my previous Ravens video to over 1,000 views. If you haven't checked it out already, I strongly recommend you do so. I love doing extensive research and bringing the reports right here. So now, let's jump into this week's video. This ain't 2019. As already stated, there's been many changes that upgraded the Ravens since the 2019 season. Let's start with maybe the biggest and most controversial reason, the training staff. During the 2019 season, and even beyond that, the Ravens had Steve Saunders as the strength and conditioning coach. The Ravens were known as being cursed, with so many injuries to players across the board. But it grew to be exponentially negative over the years. In 2021, the Ravens had 25 players land on injured reserve, the most injured team in the NFL in 2021. The Ravens lost many starters that barely touched the field the whole season, and Lamar Jackson missed the tail end of the season as well. Things still weren't looking up the next season either. Although not as damaging as 2021, they still had many key injuries that derailed the team from real playoff contention. This caused deep speculation into what was the cause of all of these injuries. Some chalked it up as a curse, but former and current Ravens players exposed the real painful truths of the strength staff led by Steve Saunders. Players such as Matthew Judon, Carl Davis, Rashad Bateman, and many more testified to the horrors of what they went through under Saunders after it was revealed that the Ravens players gave strength coaches an F-, the lowest grade out of all 32 teams in the league. Finally, in February 2023, Steve Saunders was officially fired and replaced by Scott Elliott. We can say that despite the injuries in the 2023 season, this is the healthiest we've seen the Ravens as a whole in many years, especially in the postseason. We also have to take note of the recoveries as well. With Lamar Jackson and most of the team's health in good condition, this has given them more of a fighting chance than anything. There have also been changes to many others on the coaching staff, from positions like the quarterback's coach all the way to the defensive backs. Although many of these were in-house promotions, we can obviously see a notable difference in each position. This brings us to our next talking point. The identity of the offense and defense have shifted significantly since the 2019 season. We have to talk about the Ravens finally firing offensive coordinator Greg Roman and hiring Todd Monken. Instead of covering the obvious when it comes to this major upgrade, we can focus on the difference between the divisional rounds in 2019 versus 2023. In 2019, after the devastating interception during the Ravens' first drive, the offense could not seem to get it going at all. Whether the momentum helped the Titans and panicked the Ravens, the Titans seemed to have an answer for every single play the Ravens' offense made. Besides the injuries that they were already battling and multiple people going down during the game, it almost seemed impossible for the Ravens to make any adjustments. They scored their first touchdown with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter, when the loss was already sealed. The Titans had the Ravens all figured out, and Greg Roman had nothing left to give to the offense. I'm so happy we can and have healed from this disaster with this 2023 offense, though. In the divisional round last weekend, on Saturday, January 20th, the Ravens did struggle against a tough Texans defense. Although Lamar Jackson was able to score a touchdown with Nelson Agholor in the second quarter, the tied game at the half was concerning. However, thanks to Monken's adjustments and Jackson's yelling, they were able to dominate in the second half. Lamar had one more passing touchdown with Isaiah Likely and 2 rushing touchdowns all in the second half that sealed the Ravens' victory. With an offensive coordinator that has transformed this Ravens offense to a versatile threat, there's no limits to what the Ravens can achieve. Now, we know that we have to talk about the Ravens' defense. With the additions of key pieces such as Roquan Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, and more, Mike Macdonald was able to transform the Ravens' defensive identity in his second year as defensive coordinator. While the Ravens' 2019 defense ranked pretty high during their season, it's more than fair to say that the 2023 defense blows them out the water. The 2023 defense leads the league in sacks and takeaways, trumping the 2019's defense numbers by a landslide. In the divisional round against the Tennessee Titans, the 2019 Ravens defense were unable to stop Derrick Henry. It got so disrespectful that he even started throwing his own touchdown passes. But this year, the 2023 Ravens were not playing that at all. They held the Houston Texans offense to just 38 rushing yards off of 14 attempts and kept them completely out of the red zone. This team's current defensive identity, from the physicality and raw talent, have found ways to shut the best down. Before getting to my last point of what makes this Ravens team miles ahead of 2019, I want to make some honorable mentions that definitely contribute to this present team's success. First, they finally gave Lamar Jackson some weapons on offense. For way too long, Lamar had to carry the Ravens offense on his back and his feet, which led to a lot of wear and tear near the season's ends. He mainly had Mark Andrews to rely on consistently, and while they made magic together, it still did not hide the fact that Jackson was missing a reliable wide receiver core. With the additions of Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, Nelson Agholor, and finally a healthy Rashad Bateman, Lamar Jackson finally has the weapons needed to make a deep run. Next honorable mention is the evolution of Lamar Jackson himself. Real fans knew that he always had the talent of an elite quarterback, but Jackson has evolved in his passing game and has been more protective of his body as well. He is also older and wiser now than 2019. Jackson has a chip on his shoulder with something to prove. He understands taking things step by step and also keeping his teammates locked in with him. Jackson's authority and leadership shows that he's ready to deliver and do what it takes to reach the Super Bowl with a great team behind him. The last thing that makes this Ravens team so remarkable compared to years prior is, you guessed it, the depth of the team itself. The 2023 Ravens have shown themselves to have an extremely deep roster compared to other seasons. We have had so many players step up in the place of their peers. We have Tylan Wallace. Although he's currently dealing with injuries himself, we cannot forget how he stepped up in place of Devin Duvernay and made that amazing punt return touchdown in overtime against the Rams. Geno Stone, who is actually number 2 to Marcus Williams, has stepped up tremendously this season, leading the team with 7 interceptions. Ronald Darby and Arthur Millette have proven themselves to be essential cornerbacks as well. And you know I can't forget to mention Mr. Isaiah Likely. He's had a breakout star season, stepping up in place of Mark Andrews during his injury. And there's still many other players that can be mentioned. Not only does this team's depth show that every player can step up to the occasion, but it makes the Ravens an even more dynamic threat for their opponents. So it's safe to say that we can finally stop the 2019 comparisons and lay them to rest. This team has evolved into something even more great and dynamic. The leadership, focus, and maturity displayed shows that this team can stand on its own. And with the Ravens hosting the AFC Championship game for the first time ever at the bank, we can safely say that the Baltimore Ravens are in a very new era. Thank you for watching this week's video. Be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more Ravens content to come. Let me know your thoughts on this 2023 team and the differences between 2019 in the comment section below. Also, tell me your thoughts on this upcoming game against the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. See you next time, and go Ravens!